Some new location, but I'll talk about that later. Right now I have a book review about a certain book that you might know because of the title, called The Gates by Connolly. It is wonderful in my opinion, just because I like to have an opinion about books, and this book has my opinion of being wonderful. And that sentence didn't English too good, but words don't usually. For the sake of keeping my summary short, I'm just going to read you the entirety of the back cover. It says, Samuel Johnson has a number of problems. Samuel's dad cares more about his car than his family. Samuel's mother is lonely, and only Samuel's dog, Boswell, truly understands him. Oh, and if things couldn't get any worse, Samuel's neighbors, led by the villainous Mrs. Abernathy, are trying to open the gates of hell. It's up to Samuel to try and stop them, except nobody will believe them, and time is running out. Now, the fate of humanity lies in the hands of one small boy, and an even smaller dog, and a very unlucky demon named Nerd. And now, I read this in the store, and was immediately drawn in. It's also, I believe, the English edition or the European edition, because it has euros or pound. It has pounds. I know currency. To talk about this book critically for a minute, the book is hilarious, but at the same time, its comedy is fairly specific. It's more of an English, British, Irish, Scottish type humor. It's a lot of, Wheatley from Portal 2. It's a lot of that kind of type of humor. There are demons that are incompetent and they're arguing with the people they're trying to drag to hell. That kind of thing. And there's a demon who just kind of wants to be left alone in his pond, and he just... It's amazing. I love it. But at the same time as these comedic parts are taking place, there are also very deep emotional connections that are being had between our main character Samuel, between the demon Nerd, who plays a little bit bigger of a role than the back cover gives him credit for, and most of the mother, the father. The father is, you kind of hate him more than the cover makes you want to. And while I do love this book, and I love the story, I love the idea of it, it is amazing, but at the same time it does go along, and it has a chronic condition of whitewashing the entirety of Biddlecombe, England, as described in the book. And I have never actually been to Biddlecombe. I don't know anything about Biddlecombe, but I'm pretty sure it's not all white. There is not a single other ethnicity other than European white person in this story. She will not leave me alone this little bit. And ethnic diversity can be done very well, especially in books like Tayari Jones's Silver Sparrow, which was a great story in and of itself, and it was done very well and very tastefully of all things. It was a really great conflict going on, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to do a video about it later. And in other books like Galway Bay, where it was done very well and very accurately, I feel. I know it's obviously whitewashed because you go from Ireland, the country with basically, at the time, was just poor white people, and that was about it, because that was all that was able to happen there, other than the occasional landlord and English person. Anyway, you go from there to Chicago in an Irish community where there's largely, specifically Irish people, so you're not going to see a whole lot of ethnic diversity there, but they do go through New Orleans at the time, which was kind of famous for its slave trade. And they did meet some people that they made really great friends with, and they were very, very close to, and they saw them as people, they saw them as great friends, and I think they did that fairly well. I may have been a little bit over-romanticized because it was written by a great-great-granddaughter, I believe. I don't know, it may have been even more greats than that, but I feel it was done very well, and I feel it was done very tastefully, and I think it was done very nice. And another book that I want to give you an example of that I've already showed you in the past is Salt and Storm by Kendall Culper. It is obviously still fairly whitewashed because it's in an island off the coast of America in the 1860s, roundabout 1850s, 1860s, and there is a majority white community in there because they've killed everybody else, except for the culture that Tane represents. And I don't know if you remember Tane, but he is a boy from a native island around that time, around that place. And he comes and is part of the story, and he's a very close friend, and he sacrifices himself for the girl, and it's all very romantic, it's all blah blah blah, but he does represent the native culture, and he does represent the native ethnicity, and it also gives the opportunity to tell of the brutality of my ancestors, and it gives the opportunity to tell of the story of losing an entire culture and being one of the only ones to survive, if not the only one. And before I get off my shakily earned soapbox, I want to disclaim something to you. As you can tell by the basic color of my skin and the shape of my face, that I am not necessarily the greatest person to speak out about cultural diversity and ethnic diversity. I am a white dude from the southern part of the United States of America, and obviously you can't really take me for the definitive authority on this, but I still want to give you my opinions on this because I want to, and I feel like I should because these books deserve it. Anyway, after getting off a very long tangent that had nothing to do with the original point, I do really love this book. I would really love it if you would go out and buy it because it is nice, it is wonderful, it is hilarious, and there are a lot of really good stories and a lot of really good story developments going on in here. And I would recommend it to anybody who likes comedy, anyone who likes demons, anyone who likes friendships that are formed in mysterious and weird circumstances. It's nice. I love it. I want it. I want you to have it. I want to give you my copy because it's so good. Okay, now to explain the background situation. The background situation is, I have changed living situations. It was a weird weekend for me, so I had to change my living situation from the room I was in to a different room, and that room didn't work out because the people that were in charge of that room did not necessarily like what I was doing with the room. And it was faults on both sides, but I think it was mostly my fault. So, removing myself from the situation, I moved into a different room into the original house I was already in. So, there. But I got a bigger bookshelf, so that's nice. I'm really ashamed of myself because I didn't do my snappy thing. I want to do my snappy thing, and I like my snappy thing, so I'm going to do it. And I didn't put the book behind my head, so I'm going to do that too. There it is. So now, I'm happy about that. And now for the books that I'm actually reading, I'm gonna do this. Okay, here we go. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I'm just now starting to read it. I'm only yay far into it because I just started it last night. But it's amazing so far, and I love it so far. I will tell you how it goes. I've just started reading it. I know I'm behind, but whatever. And Harry Potter 5, because I'm still working my way through the series, and they're freaking enormous books. I'm that far in it, but it's... yeah, I love it. I love it. It beats with the heart. I'm a Hufflepuff, and I'm proud to be a Hufflepuff. I need some Huffle merchandise, because I'm Huffle proud of my Huffle... miss. Trying to make up for my snappy thing. Dadgummit, wrong book. Also, hilarious. Oh, dadgummit again. Again, wonderful. But anyway... Dadgummit! Last time, I promise, because I'm just milking the snappy thing, just because I love it so much. Anyway, that's all I got for this video, so I will see you probably next Monday. But like I said, it's been hectic, but probably next Monday with another book. So, until then...